best of Spring television. Ours it is.
A blissful day it is here in the city of Oshogbo, Osun State, Nigeria. And we're pleased to have you join us on another episode of Spring Delight. Please ride with us as we take you through the amazing content we have for you today. My name is Olayinka Ali. Tunde Dowu will be joining us on the show very soon. Please stay with us as we go on this break. We'll be right back.
Baby, ẹ̀gẹ́ jẹ́ máa bá ẹ lọ, àdúmàdán jẹ́ máa bá ẹ lọ. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó, ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó, ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó. Baby, I wanna love you. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó, ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó. I wanna love you. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó, ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó. Baby, I wanna love you. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó, ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ni ó.
This iconic African presents the narrative of a man destined to exert an imperishable global influence in Western education. His was a story of a freeborn, captured and sold into slavery. He was born in Oshogun, a native Yoruba village near Iseyin in Okiogun axis of southwest Nigeria. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was the foundation student of Fora Bay College, Sierra Leone, the foremost university where the pioneer set of native Africans were educated. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's greatest contribution to humanity was his translation of the Holy Bible into the Yoruba language. The man who authored the Yoruba dictionary was also credited with the translation of English classic hymns into Yoruba and the Ekwere languages. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's private residence in Badagry, incidentally the first story building in Nigeria, is an Akaba museum dedicated to the memory of Africa's first bishop. Western Spring Television identifies Samuel Ajayi Crowther as a watershed character in history. Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the Queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history. The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa as initiated by German leader Otto von Bismarck. The Berlin Conference is often called the scramble for and partitioning of Africa, as each of the imperial powers carved separate portions of the continent for themselves without recourse to racial and cultural identities and differences. 137 years after the Berlin Conference was held, Africa remains a legitimized playground for European nations that sought to exploit its wealth and resources and manipulate its human capital to promote trade and investments of Western powers. Western Spring Television identifies Berlin Conference as a major event in history.
Yeah, it's a super Saturday, the very first Saturday in the month of February 2023. Glad to be here, and we're excited. Thanks to my very amazing sweetheart here. I don't know if she remains one, because these days I'm beginning, when you don't have fuel and you don't have money, the ladies don't look towards your direction.
At all.
I don't know. Am I still on
No,
that
you're not.
page? Spring Delight is the program coming to you live from Western Spring Television. Thank you most sincerely for always being here with us. Today we have quite a whole lot of packages that we have put together for your viewing pleasure, and you will be amazed to really enjoy every bit of what we have here. But at this moment in time, the dailies, what are the dailies saying? We have quite a whole lot from the papers. I have the Nation newspaper.
And I have the Punch as usual.
And obviously our guest is in the house. He's a barrister. He's an analyst by excellence. I love him. We always love having him around us. A big pleasure of having Barrister Moses Obaditon joining us again this morning. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
We said it jokingly that probably I will be able to siphon some fuel from your car.
Yes.
I know you always have full tank.
Just let the lady go.
Power of a lady.
All right, let's just check out some of the headlines we have for you from the dailies this morning from the pages of the Nation newspaper. APC governors to Buhari, let old notes coexist with new ones. And still talking Naira crisis. APC, Naira crisis, APC, Wike hit Atiku for opposing deadline extension. And there was a protest yesterday in Ibadan. As protest clashes in Ibadan worry as cash fuels scarcity bites harder. Still checking out some of the headlines. I have this as well. Ask Malami about sale of 48 million barrels of crude. Interpol tells Rep. We'll find out. We'll look into that. I'll bring you those details.
Okay, let me go straight to the Punch. Buhari consigns Nigerians to 7 more days of hardship. Some angry citizens on Friday condemned the federal government, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and deposit money banks for subjecting them to hardship over the scarcity of new Naira notes and the astronomical hike in the pump price of petrol as a result of acute scarcity. While some vented their anger by embarking on street protest, others attacked bank branches and facilities. There were protests in Ibadan, your state capital, on Friday by frustrated citizens over their inability to withdraw money in their bank accounts, as well as the lingering fuel crisis and the attendant rise in cost. Similar protests took place in Lagos, Ondo, and Edo states, sparking apprehension that the situation could degenerate in the coming days. Amidst the confusion, the president expressed doubts about the commitment of banks to the success of the new Naira policy and accused some of them of being inefficient and making the policy unnecessarily difficult through selfishness and greed. He also asked to be given 7 days to resolve the problems associated with the scarcity of the currency. Barrister, what have you?
Well, what you have just witnessed is a repeat of history. Our leader has always been taken off for granted.
Wow.
And I remember under the military, it was the last time I saw such a multiple challenge facing the common man in the streets. But then, when it happens, what the military will resort to was to what we call task force. But setting up committee in a time like this is to allow us to continue. I also take you back into what happened in 1985 in Russia. In Russia, for you to purchase a shirt, you have to be on queue. To get a loaf of bread, you have to be on queue. And the people got to a level where they could no longer take it. The Kremlin, the leadership,
Yes.
they were the one enjoying and did not know what goes on in the street. So the people went in the street, and then they brought Amotan to finish. The people were climbing Amotan. And that was the end of the Russian regime. And Russia has to collapse, that government, and then Russia divided into 15 countries. And so when you are getting to a level like this, we also have to, we need to remind Buhari to remember what happened in the Arab Spring. It was a hardship like this. And a young man was by the roadside selling, and before you know it, they set his thing ablaze, and the man poured petrol. And the things consumed the president of Nigeria. From there to, Gaddafi has to pay for it. And so we are asking this government to take it easy, that government is a social contract. The people who put you in power are the leader. But unfortunately, they saw themselves as emperor. And so it is unacceptable. You know, when I saw a man, half naked on the counter in the bank, another woman half naked, and some even, fighting in the banking hall. And I begin to ask, are they a government? So if they are telling us a change of currency, I want to tell the nation that in Cameroon, they've just changed currency. And they are not lamenting at all. So what's the matter? Could you call it administrative lapses or a political conspiracy? Let me leave it to my friend to answer that question.
I'm still going to let's just come back to you, Barrister. Looking at what Mr. President, after the APC governors met with him yesterday, and he said, look, give me 7 days to resolve this cash crunch issue. Is this not 7 days of another weight of hardship for Nigerians, coupled with the months at which we have been coming from?
If we look at the president, the 7 days, just go and sit down. But if it is maybe under IBB, we will have expect a new thing. Permit me to just say that our president, when it comes to empathy, is short of it.
Okay.
Until you have a leader who look at things and who goes. For example, IBB may be a military man, but he read newspaper. He know what goes on. I doubt, because sometimes when they put question, the president says, is that so? So he's, in reality, he does not know what goes on in the streets. And that should not be the end. He has chief of staff, he has minister. So they are supposed to give him a feedback. Say, look, this is the situation, this is the condition. If you had them to give you 7 days, within that 7 days, what do you intend to achieve? So in an other climate, by now, the central bank government will have resigned. Look at very short thing. In Britain, a woman was there as prime minister under 3 months and realized before you know that the economy was not working. In New Zealand, a woman was there just at 7 years old. He said, look, I do not have enough water in the tank. I can't continue. But here, even when people are dying in droves, they just felt it's my turn. And so to me, that 7 days, except maybe if Mayfile will just think around and see if there's a way of bringing in these resources and then monitoring, because what we are seeing, the money you say is not available is already in the hands of the terrorists.
Yes.
So who supplied them? Why do they get it? And let me tell you, some of my colleagues around, I was sitting, they say I got 25,000. No, I said, how do you manage it? They say, you need to know somebody. And so until we're able to solve this our lingering problem, it's going to, now you are sixth on the OPEC list as a petroleum producing country. You don't have fuel. And here you say the fuel is in your tank and nobody, no head is rolling. So that's why I say what we require is a task force. Somebody to move in. Why is it not there? Why is this one? Who is this person? And then the man in charge of me will keep on telling us story. You don't tell story. When it's just like when a doctor moves into the theater and was telling, oh, madam, this is your pregnancy. That patient will die. What he has to do is to go into the operation, do the needful, give injection where, and if there's a need for operation, do it. And so this government 7 days, the government is 7 days of lamentation.
Do you think Mr. President is a little bit passive, whereby he has not even come out as the Minister for Petroleum Resources? He has not come out to even address the nation as to this hardship. Do you see him as passive, or he's just taking his time to know and to see what he will do?
If there's a word to use, more than passive, I'll use it. But he has admitted, say, how I wish I was here when I was a bit younger. So number one factor is his health. So remember, for 1 year, he almost spent in the First World Tank. And I remember I fought with a senator who is likely to be listening to me this morning. And when we were coming for the 2019 election, I was with my principal, who happened to be a governor, in the sitting room, and said, I said, this man spent all the year in won it for second term. So the stamina, the energy, let me tell you, look at Obama. Obama got to the presidency in his 30. By the time he left, the whole thing was why? Look at the former governor of Lagos State, who is now Minister of Works. Look, by the time Fashola finished, he says it's a strenuous job. So the president cannot go through the heat. In America, they say, if you cannot go through the heat, get out of the kitchen. So what the president should have done before now, would have been, okay, old boy, I want it here, but it appears. In our own constitution, it is the only condition they give that you can move in is when you are not mentally capable. So to him, he's still mentally capable. But then if you don't have the physical energy, you have a lot of lieutenant that surrounds you that you can put here and there. But ironically, there were 3 things that look like a veil that block the vision of our president: nepotism, ethnicity, and religion. And that's why he failed to put the square peg in a square hole. If he has done that, he doesn't need to be everywhere. And that's why he's the center of gravity. So unfortunately, the passivity, if there's another word for passivity, I will use it. But with due respect to him, I won't say more than that.
Looking at this story from the Nation newspaper, it has this headline: Asks Malami about sale of 48 million barrels of crude. Interpol tells rep. The head of the National Central Bureau, NCB, of the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, Gaba Baba Umar, says the House of Representatives should direct inquiries over the alleged loss of over $2.4 billion from the illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015 to the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. He said this when he appeared before the House Ad Hoc Committee investigating the matter. The committee is also probing crude oil export from 2014 to date. The committee was questioning the Interpol boss for going after whistleblowers who exposed the alleged illegal sale of 48 million barrels of Nigeria's Bonny Light crude in China in 2015, estimated at $2.4 billion after they approached the House to expose the deal. Malami is still sitting down as the Attorney General of the Federation. Barrister, legally, he has been accused of this enormous, the gravity for this, for a serving leader in whatever capacity it should have been, that I will resign, or let me step aside, investigate. But if Malami, even at that, we see this will just be what we will hear, and this is how it will come and go. Why do we have issues in Nigeria within this administration that heads don't roll when you are found wanting regarding issues such as this?
You know, I said it, that three major issues beclouded our president. Jingoism, ethnic jingoism, religious factor, and then not just using the right people. I remember Magu, the former EFCC chief,
Yes.
accused the same Malami.
Yes.
And he's 21 years old, got a particular mansion in Dubai, and that's the end of the story. Many other people has accused him. Instead of looking at the whole thing, that would be the end of the story. So if Malami is now being accused by a whistleblower, and they are now going after the whistleblower, even if he cannot resign for conscience sake, the president put him in a position, should be able. Then, assuming the president is not conscious of what is going on, then the chief of staff, because he will be the one who, you know, will cover the administrative field, and then give him on a daily basis. And apart from it, the DSS has a daily report for the president. And assuming the president does not have such strength to go through, where are the people who are assisting the president? Where are the Femi Adesina, the Garba Shehu, who know how to throw missile at anybody that speaks about the president? So these are the issues. Then two, if you look at it, this team, the energy with which the president started this anti-corruption war was already gone. And how? Because some of the people that were closer to him has their hand, finger stained. The former Babash Lawal, the former FJNS, it took a longer time before they could remove him. Because when he was alleged, he collected 52 million for cutting grass in the IDP camp. So, and we can keep on mentioning all this one. And when you look around, I think today, if you look back in the last 20 years, if there's a government that we can accuse of corruption, this government has scored a lot. Now, let's just pause a bit. Let's ask the question about the Attorney General of the Federation. 109.9 billion. And they said, we have collected 30,000 back. Assuming it's happening in China, that man will have been executed. If it happened in USA, he would be in prison, pending, whatever other thing they need to recover. But even in Nigeria, under his first coming, the day Agbon Buhari, that man will be in jail. Let me tell you, in the old Lobo State, for those who are young may not know the meaning of Lobo State, Lagos, Ondo, Ogun, and Bende.
Yes.
The accusation against the governor there was that they collect money from contractor to finance their political party. All of them, they were in jail. Ambrose Ali has to die there. And so if you were looking around and the man with the chief legal officer is being accused here and there, and then you feel comfortable. I don't know how to describe it. The whole thing is sparkled a lot of terrible things that ought not to be mentioned. So to me, there's nothing called war against corruption. Remember, before I pause, the former senator in Kaduna, he said What you tell of corruption, there are two that I mentioned it. Is if it's opposition, we use insecticide. If it is our own people, we use deodorant. And that's the story. If you look at the symbol of judiciary, the eyes of that lady is totally folded. Either it's blue, black, or white. As long as you do this one. Let's come back a bit to South Africa. The sitting president was accused of using the fund of the state.
Yeah.
And immediately the man, quickly make a fund. Today he's facing trial. The same thing in Israel. And so when you look around, to us, I don't think it has become a culture. And that's why people, even look at the recent index on corruption. We are still operating within the same realm. So to me, it is a lamentation. And we pray the coming government. And if you ask me who are the coming government, and I begin to laugh because the three leprosy who are leading, can they fight corruption? I doubt it.
Yes, on the Punch, Naira petrol holders plotting interim government, Tinubu alleges. The All Progressive Congress presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Tinubu on Friday alleged that the Naira scarcity was an artificial creation by some individuals to cause violence in a bid to achieve the desire to impose an interim national government. Tinubu said the 2023 presidential election would liberate Nigerians, urge registered voters to ensure they got their permanent voters card to vote for the APC and defile all odds to cast their votes for the party. They want to hold the PVCs, don't allow them to do so, he added. Was Tinubu right?
It's not right. The scarcity of fuels and currency is to show the level of administrative deficiency. Secondly, it's a good policy, but the timing was a bit poor. And then thirdly, there could be some, if I cannot get it, let me spoil it. How does that one? The central bank governor ought not to be part of that primary of APC because it's supposed to be apolitical. That means it's not supposed to be partisan. So since in law we say if you descend to the arena, you must be ready for the dust. So now that the CBN Emefiele descended, took part in the primary, and now decided, look, this is the time to look at how do we call the money that is out of circulation. Beautiful. But then suppose Emefiele is the one contesting as the flag bearer of APC. Will that policy fly? Will he go? And suppose he even tried it. Now that the situation is becoming unbecoming, what would be the thing? So he must put everything at his disposal to ensure that people are ready and they are happy to go to the poll. So for him to say it's because of either myself or that kind of thing, it was not so. If you look at every aspect, I'll give you an example. Look at the power. The power, and I know quite often when I come here, you are on diesel. The power is still far below. If you look at 40 years ago, we and South Korea and possibly Iran were on the same power level. Today, they are generating beyond 50 megawatt. We are still struggling between 5 and 10 megawatt. Now, this government has been there. They promised us to do something. And no country ever make it in industry without power stability. But let's look at our kitchen. When I mean kitchen, I'm looking at South Africa as a measure. South Africa got independence in 1994. But if you look at their power sector, why they have crisis just about 3 weeks ago, the president was on his way to New Zealand conference. Exactly. He canceled it. He called look, this is where we depend upon. What this one? Do you hear the crisis again? So, but here, when we have the fuel problem, the minister of petroleum, who is the president, said, look, I have to go and take an award. He went, not even address. Even if you have poultry and your chicken that are crying for water, will you abandon them? By the time you return, they are dead. So, and that's why people are dying in the streets. So, if you Bola Tinubu is saying it's because of this one, he is part of the system. Why can't he penetrate? Why didn't he move in and say, look, I'm the flag bearer. Why this one? So, it is one, we must look at it. Any aspect of Nigeria, look at the health sector. Is it working? Look at university. Is it the way it was done when you were in the university? So, everything here under this government, it shows they are not qualified. They are deficiency. So, until you are able to bring a man who is capable. It's just like if you recruited a carpenter to come and work in the studio here. You won't get result. No lawyer, he has worked with channels. And so when I say, I know you have an expert right here, I have listened to you, maybe a few people I do. So if you bring right people to do so, and then we are talking about distribution, you are the one bringing it from the soil, and then they are even alleging that on a daily basis, people are stealing our fuel, the reports are there, government admitted. How many people have you charged to court? Can you see the level of their deficiency? Can you see the level of corruption? Because if you ask me to mind this place, and somebody is coming to remove CD and removing cable, and I know eventually I'm going to fail, what do? I will recommend to my CD, the GM, please, this man cannot work here. We suspect somebody is stealing us. So if you know this one and you are not doing, you just simply say you are not capable, you are not fit, you are not proper. In law, we say fit and proper. So physically, some people may be fit, but mentally they are not capable. And then how about the character? Somebody will say they can help you to look for a job, but it's your attitude that will depend your altitude. So the challenge confronting us that most of people in the aims of power in the situation, they are just not fit and proper. They did not have the mental capability. Neither do they have the character to show that government is a social contract and that accountability is there. Where there's accountability, will you, Emefiele telling you he doesn't know how much money is in circulation, and then the people are now lamenting. If you go to Western country, the former Minister of Petroleum, Alice Madueke, they found just £5,000 in her custody. She was brought. So if you keep billion, and they said 2 trillion is out of circulation, by implication, it's going to affect the economy. Now, out of this 2 trillion, they have recovered 1.7 in this short period, and people are lamenting. Bring out the money, and then the money will be in circulation. To me, it's a multidimensional problem which can be solved by man. It's not a science. It's not a rocket science.
But Barrister, I want us to still look at this issue of the Naira redesign. I know I was privileged to see the new 200 Naira through you. I don't know, maybe I've not seen the 1,000 Naira yet. Maybe I'll see it through you again.
When you get
I have 1,000 Naira.
No, when I see it, I know Barrister showed me that.
I show you, and I said, go and show it to your boy.
People are beginning to they're talking into my ears now that Barrister, you gave me money.
Did Barrister did you give him money?
No.
You showed him
No
the money.
witness.
He showed me, and then I know how. Now, looking at this, the new Naira redesign. Now, Ganduje exposes Emefiele's alleged plan to ruin APC's chances at the election. Is this an aspect whereby what Emefiele is trying to do, is it in the interest of the nation or to cause havoc for the ambition of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu or the APC?
For you to understand, and for those who are listening to us to get the proper shape of the question, that Ganduje is an associate, a very maybe we'll say somebody who have benefited from Bola Tinubu. So if he doesn't throw that stone, who else will do it? And he once admitted that if it's not Bola Tinubu, he wouldn't have been governor, and he has been assisted. So if such a statement is coming from him, we should, there's in language or in yes, I think there's what we call filtration, even in communication, we call filtration of information.
Yes, sir.
So to be able to filter what Ganduje has said, you have to look at it. How is he using it to destroy? If he's doing it, what of the commander-in-chief, which is the president? So the president should be in a better position. Say, cool, central bank governor, please come. You are targeting this thing at my administration. And then, assuming the president is not politically conscious, he has the chief of staff who has been an international servant. Gambari was in UN and many things, so and many other people who should have come. So what I want to reply Emefiele is that, Ganduje, is that not the policy is not directly against Bola Tinubu. It's possibly directly at the political groups who have taken upon themselves to hold 98% of our economy, leaving only 2% to the common man in the street. How? For example, I said it just a few minutes ago that Emefiele said 2 trillion naira are out of circulation. And so they brought this policy in order to retrieve this money. So, and out of that 2 trillion, they have been able to collect 1.7 trillion, remaining about 900 billion. So if you happen to be running an economy and you have 2 trillion out of circulation, definitely it's going to affect your economy. Definitely the commercial bank will not have money to give. And so those who have made it upon themselves and who have been to Western country, in Western country, you can't hold a certain cash. There's a cash limit you can hold. if you have kept it, and you can even see the evidence when they were bringing it, some of them has already become, spoils and that kind of thing. So to me, I believe, one, it was targeted at those people who have votes in their house, and it is time for them to return it. Secondly, the policy is aiming at maybe seeing what we can do so as to curb those who are in the forest, who have maintained vote, because those who have either been under the kidnapping, they say there's nothing you are looking for that is not available. And the foreign experts and friends have told us that these are the sponsors of the terrorists. They gave their name to the government. Government are promising to do something. So maybe they now use that policy. Okay, hold the money. We also use it against you. And some of you are aware that during the Nigerian Civil War, the Biafran looted Benin Bank. And for them to waste that money, they have to change the currency. So it could be a policy. The only problem we have is because of the administrative lapses, which I said. Number one, when you are going to have a policy administration that are going to fail you, there must be plan A, plan B. So, and if you know Emefiele, there's a limit to what he could do as a CBN governor. But nevertheless, he has done something, especially in the north. He gets over 2,000 people going to the local, collecting from those who are more likely to suffer. But here they took off for granted and very well, they are saddened and they can settle themselves. If they have done it, maybe the hardship could have reduced. So it is not a personal issue, but the timing is a bit difficult. Difficult in the sense that it's coming at a point when we have problem with fuel. It's coming at a point when election is close by. It's coming at a point when APC has an image problem. And so if this one come together and you are approaching election in the next 3 weeks, it's likely to boomerang. In a developed polity, let's assume it's in America. Biden or his successor will not come from his party. Because they say, what the hell, these people. And I remember one of the American presidents, he said, they are asking you to vote for them. Ask them question. What have they done with our last 4 years? And that will be the result when vote count. Lucky enough, with the BVA, the APC should be ready for challenges.
Still on this Naira issue, CBN begs Nigerians vows to stop POS extra charges. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has appealed to Nigerians to show understanding, adding that the redesigned notes will circulate and be accessible. The Apex Bank also pledged to stop point of sales charges as a February 10 deadline for the swapping of old Naira notes with new ones approaches. Emefiele made the appeal at a special media briefing on the new Naira notes on Friday in Lagos. He noted he could see the protest and arguments surrounding the difficulties citizens were facing in accessing the new notes. Do you think the POS agents are still making life unbearable for people?
They are not making life. Every Nigerian take advantage of the situation to max wealth. Look at the filling station. Government said they've increased it to 185. But there is no filling station except maybe one or two that they are now selling between 190 and 200. So, and those who are selling at 400, is it their fault? Have they got the supply? So if Emefiele won the POS, and we're going to talk to the POS, they make the money available in the bank, which is the center. But the bank also give these POS out. And they want you to go because some of those who are working the bank are also owners of this POS. So, and if the bank has been very fair, and they have been allowing people to take money on the counter, the ATM are working. The PA will not put you, but when you are in a tight corner, let's assume that man whose wife died, and he got to say, oh God, we are going to pay 1,100. Say, please give it to me. So, but when the thing is not even available, and you are now saying you are going to beg, the little one who have it will take the advantage. There's a simple law of economic, demand and supply. When the demand is more than the supply, definitely the price will rise.
Absolutely.
So for Emefiele, if I happen to be in the shoe, I will do everything possible that will load all banks, even beyond our imagination, that once you bring this one down, then you can begin to adjust the money you want to be in circulation. But to tell the POS, they will not listen.
Looking at what he has said, that about 30 million is being sent to each bank to put in the as cash for these various banks. 30 million for a bank, even here in Osun State, if you put 30 million in all the banks in Osun State, I don't see that to be enough for the citizens of the state. In the last couple of days, we've visited banks and we've seen the huge number of people on queue at the ATM spots. How long can we do this?
Look, underline that 30 million. How does it sound in the amount of somebody who is number one banker in the country. So it shows you that is short of the capacity to understand what is running. So he's not fit and proper to be in that place, because in Lagos alone, even one bank, that 30 million will not be enough. Not to talk of the country as a whole. So what we ought to do by now is just to allow people to take it easy. Life will not be lost. I remember in 1993, for 2 weeks, we could not go out because of Abiola riot. So if we can survive it, definitely we should survive this one. Then those who are listening to us, be your brother's keeper. I've seen people begging money. At 60 views, no, you have it. And then the POS, not everybody will be able to give you 10% over what they are taking. Assist them so that this storm will eventually, go. So for the issue of maybe what are we going to do? What we ought to do, if it's when Nigeria is, Emefiele will be asked to proceed on leave. Another person will step in because it shows he's not capable. Then two, the EFCs, the police, everyone should be there, and I appreciate them. Because I remember the day before yesterday, I picked some newspaper. So they're opening ATM machines, going to everywhere. If they go like that, they'll be able to, for example, if you send, let's say you send 10 million to a bank, and then I'm a politician in that city. Hello, is that Mr. Taiwo? Okay, my boy is coming. I need 5 million. Will he not give it to me? Because he know 5 million, he's going to pick some thousand out of it. So this is the problem we have. The problem of corruption is everywhere. And you cannot, even those people we said want to ensure that they bring out the money. And the money is already with them. You can't buy, have you seen any of them lamenting? Have you seen them queue up? Even look at the situation of fueling. Why we work with the governor? We don't go to the filling station. If no matter the scarcity, if there's a petrol station, we just go and then fill our tank and go. So most of the political elite doesn't go through what you are going through. So what we expect the government to do is to be in the street. Governor of each state should be involved. Task force will also work together with them to ensure where fuel is available, where money is available, it's given. And the POS, some of them will not give to you because they are collecting for a particular person. And remember, election is there. Either you like it or not, money will still speak on election. And so this hardship you are seeing is an artificial creation. It's not a negative attack, but the little 30 million he says, that 10 million there must go to power that be within the political sector.
Barrister, before we allow you go this morning, let's look at the meeting of the APC governors with Mr. President yesterday, and whereby they put it forward to him before Mr. President eventually said, look, give me 7 days to resolve all this cash crunch crisis that we are experiencing. That meeting, the governors led by the Progressive Governors Forum, Madam El-Rufai, say, look, let the old notes and the new notes coexist. Is that possible?
It's not possible. Then two, I should have asked question, why are they coming too late? There's a word you say too little, too late. They are coming at a late hour. Where were they before things get to this level? And then secondly, most of these governors are either coming for second term, or they are going to Senate, or they have people they are sponsoring. So if they ask for the old currency to coexist, they simply want to use their depot. So they are not fighting for the common man. If the common man is their target, there is a way of doing it. For example, if you don't have money, food can be given to you. Look at the NSAS period. Who knows that some people, food was stockpiled in some stores. So if they are so bothered about it, they know what to do, how to bring smite on the face of the common man in the streets. So asking the president to give them, the president also uses the same language as, okay, give me 7 days. It's like the sons of Solomon when they became governor, the king. And then the age-mate king said, look, your father was too hard. Will you do the same? Say, give me 3 days. And after the 3 days they came, the elder came and said, tell them you are going to take it easy with them. But his old group said, no, tell them, your father used Skoboko, use Scorpion. So the president is simply buying time, knowing fully well in 7 days, it's going to be on the 10th. And so the governor are not likely to have access. But the beauty of it is that Emefiele said, after that 10th of February, if there's any old notes, bring it to the central bank. If you bring it to the central bank, they will ask you a question. How did they come about this money? Because you feel form. So, and that is the thing the governor wants to build, and their, political, how would I call privileged ones. So, to me, I felt we are almost out of the wood with this hardship. So, the president has done a good job by not extending it. But then the two notes cannot. If it goes, then the purpose of forcing them to bring out the old note will have been defeated. So let's get there, but we want to appeal those who are feeling the pain. It's like a woman who wants to deliver. For every good thing, there must be pain. No? Even the Bible says when a woman is laboring, it's but as soon as the labor is over, that my mama, I'm sure you have mother. By the time the baby is out, they just smile and you forgot the pain. So we will soon forget the pain. But our prayer is that those who will succeed Buhari will not bring another lamentation, because in the last 23 years, one head of state has been worse than the other. The question will be asked: who is going to be the one that wipe away the tears of Nigeria?
Who will be the one to wipe away the tears of this great citizens of this great nation? Probably to be led by Barrister Obaditun. I'd like to thank you most sincerely once again for joining us on the program, Barrister.
Thank you.
Barrister Moses Obaditun, Barrister at Law, and also an analyst by excellence. Spring Delight is the program you're still watching on Western Spring Television. Let's bring to you memorable events that happened on the 4th of February over the years, ever since this planet called Earth was created. We'll be back on the other side. Please stay with us.
The 1914 Amalgamation Treaty is synonymous to the birth of Nigeria. Frederick Lugard, a British Army captain and an outlaw who struck gold in Africa, became the instrument used by destiny to make it happen. The amalgamation of Nigeria was designed for economic reasons by the colonial administration to offset Northern Protectorate budget deficit by Southern Protectorate surplus returns. The amalgamation had ad initio created imbalance in the economic political structure of Nigeria and was responsible for the persistent hiccups and the efforts to forge a united country till today. Nigeria's amalgamation was labeled as the mistake of 1914 by native northern conservatives who neither wanted it nor contributed anything significant to its sustenance. Western Spring Television identifies with Amalgamation Treaty of 1914 as a watershed event in history. Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Kwenkele Mens was a natively corrupted version of Peculiar Mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history. The name Adolf Hitler exudes a gale of bile from millions of people who were victims of his autocratic rule and love, from fanatical supporters of his imperial aggression. Born April 20, 1889, at a small Austrian town sandwiched between Austro-German frontier, Adolf Hitler spent most of his childhood in Linz, the capital of Upper Austria. As a very prominent stakeholder in the horrific events of conflicts in Europe, Adolf Hitler could simply go off as the sole mover of the Second World War. 40 million Jews were murdered in the gas chambers of various Nazi camps on the orders of Adolf Hitler. Thousands of Adolf Hitlers still live in Germany today, but the majority of them are elderly and were named before the end of the Second World War. As the name pales into vanishing rarity, 13 children, according to official records, were named Adolf Hitler between 2006 and 2013. Western Spring Television identifies Adolf Hitler as a major character in history. Born 16th September 1923, named Harry Lee Kwan and known as Lee Kuan Yew, he was often addressed by his initials of LKY. Lee Kuan Yew was a barrister and the first Prime Minister of Singapore between 1959 and 1990. Educated at Raffles Institution from 1936 to 1940 and the Fitzwilliam House between 1947 and 1949, Lee Kuan Yew established a highly effective and anti-corrupt governance system that midwifed the transformation of Singapore into a high net worth income economy within a generation. He never hid his exception to Western mode democratic ideal, which he believed had not assisted developing nations to attain good government. Before his death on 23rd March 2015, the People's Action Party, which he founded, had used his political influence to establish the United World College of Southeast Asia to expand his economic ideas among countries that constitute the Asian Tiger. Western Spring Television identifies Lee Kuan Yew as a major character in history. Named Mao Zedong at birth, but globally known as Mao Zedong, he was a Chinese revolutionary and founder, People's Republic of China, which he led as chairman of the Chinese Communist Party from 1949 until his death in 1976. He was a communist who believed in the attainment of power by the instrumentality of gun. His wise saying, "Political power grows out of the barrel of gun," formed the major plank of his revolutionary struggle for the control of China. In the long span of his leadership and political power, Mao Zedong relentlessly entrenched the communist philosophy in China, which emphasized the revolutionary struggle of the vast majority of people against the exploiting class and their state structures. The communist leaders defined the class struggle as people's war. Mao Zedong was a story of grass to grace, having risen from peasantry to preeminent status as China's most respected leader. Western Spring Television identifies Mao Zedong as a major character in history. This iconic African presents the narrative of a man destined to exert an imperishable global influence in Western education. His was a story of a freeborn, captured and sold into slavery. He was born in Oshogun, a native Yoruba village near Iseyin in Okeogun axis of southwest Nigeria. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was the foundation student of Fora Bay College, Sierra Leone, the foremost university where the pioneer set of native Africans were educated. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's greatest contribution to humanity was his translation of the Holy Bible into the Yoruba language. The man who authored the Yoruba dictionary was also credited with the translation of English classic hymns into Yoruba and the Ekwere languages. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's private residence in Badagry, incidentally the first story building in Nigeria, is an archival museum dedicated to the memory of Africa's first bishop. Western Spring Television identifies Samuel Ajayi Crowther as a watershed character in history. The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history. The name Adolf Hitler exudes a gale of bile from millions of people who were victims of his autocratic rule and love, from fanatical supporters of his imperial aggression. Born April 20, 1889, at a small Austrian town sandwiched between Austro-German frontier, Adolf Hitler spent most of his childhood in Linz, the capital of Upper Austria. As a very prominent stakeholder in the horrific events of conflicts in Europe, Adolf Hitler could simply go off as the sole mover of the Second World War. 40 million Jews were murdered in the gas chambers of various Nazi camps on the orders of Adolf Hitler. Thousands of Adolf Hitlers still live in Germany today, but the majority of them are elderly and were named before the end of the Second World War. As the name pales into vanishing rarity, 13 children, according to official records, were named Adolf Hitler between 2006 and 2013. Western Spring Television identifies Adolf Hitler as a major character in history. Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history.
right. When you have a juicy lifestyle, it's always pleasant.
Why
and
did you
most
mention juicy?
Yeah, when you have a juicy lifestyle.
Tell the viewers why you mentioned juicy.
All right, let's just move on from there. It's still a juicy Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, beg your pardon, and it's always nice to be here. Spring Delights is the program, and at this moment in time, there is a very young man in this house this morning, and we are, both of us, we are perplexed and so amazed about his lifestyle. He has been able to achieve something at a very, very young age. Not Chinkali.
I'm not an achiever.
Well, you are.
TD, on the TV, you're telling people I'm not an achiever.
You are, definitely. You know the deal. Okay, now there's a threat to life here. It's a pleasure to have Mr. Maruf Taiwo with us. He's a lecturer at Adeleke University.
Okay.
A lecturer. Did we get that right?
Exactly.
How did he start it?
All right, that's a very nice question. It all started when I was in 200 level.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, should I just say I studied public health.
Okay.
That's preventive medicine. In my mind, I was like, why did I choose this course in the first place? You know, the African mentality about public health being a newly introduced course. That okay, this is okay. I should do it woli or something, you know. But I met with one of my lecturers. But the doctor already left our school. She's now lecturing at University of Osun State.
Okay.
And then that's Dr. Mrs. Ashekun. I was talking to her, and then she educated me and she lectured me about careers in public health. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be an epidemiologist. But in my mind, I was like, epidemiologist, really? But at the same time, I like teaching, by the way. It's not like teaching secondary school or something. I just like, you know, doing tutorials. And then when I was in 300 level, I started contesting for a student position in school. I contested for Adeleke University Student Association Vice President.
Okay.
So, and then one of the constitutional responsibility of Vice President is to be the Director of Academic Committee for the student. Then I invented a particular program tagged outside tutorials. Tutorials aimed at decreasing the level of carryovers among students and increasing the level of academic excellence. And I can only achieve that by getting my teams together in order to provide tutorials for the students. So I started this program, we launched it, and then I thought it was even a joke. The school accepted it with immediate effect. You know, they were not expecting stuff like that. And then started lecturing our students, and then I discovered that, okay, I think I have this thing for
Lecturing.
Yes.
Now, because I didn't really drop the bombshell, which I would have loved to drop.
Okay.
Let me just say it. I'm sorry I have to do this.
It's fine.
Please.
No problem. Go ahead.
How old are you?
I'm just 20. I clocked 20 on the 1st of January last month.
Wow.
And you are a lecturer.
Exactly.
You clocked 20 in January.
Yes.
January.
2023.
What date?
1st of January.
1st of January.
Wow.
Yes.
Legends are born in January.
Yeah, I know.
Those of us, whereby we're January. Yeah, let's just continue the show. There's no need. At 20,
Yeah,
you started lecturing.
exactly. I started lecturing 19, not 20.
At 19.
Yes. Started lecturing last year, September.
You graduated when?
I graduated when I was 18.
Now,
That was 2022, right? No,
2021.
2021, yeah.
Twen-
No, I graduated 2022. I don't want to. No,
Last
2021. Sorry,
Yeah,
August
21,
2021. So I was 18 at the time I graduated.
Okay.
So 2022, I was 19. I finished my youth service then, you understand?
Wow.
And then they got me recruited to the department.
You
of
served in
education.
that same school?
No, I did not serve there.
Oh.
I served at Federal University, Lokoja.
Okay.
Yes, I was doing two stuff at Lokoja then. I was lecturing at the same time. I was working at the clinic.
Okay.
So then, together with experience and everything, I gathered everything inside my CV. So I did not even apply to Adeleke University in the first place.
Are you serious?
So yes, when I got back home after service, a week, like it was like 4 days after my youth service, I got a call from the school that I should come around. They need my service. I said, fine, it's okay. So when I got there, I thought it was even going to be a registry work. And they said I should be in the department. They showed me my office and everything I should be lecturing. I said, fine, I'm cool with it. I have passion for this lecturing already.
What course do you lecture?
I lecture school health education.
Okay.
I lecture communicable diseases. I lecture on communicable diseases also.
What grade do you lecture? What's for
300 level, mostly.
300 level.
300 level?
Exactly.
You're not scared. How big are okay? Probably these days, because I don't know if you have someone like Ikale in the studio or someone like me.
We have someone like you know in the class.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, exactly. We have someone like
So
in the
how
class.
do you do that?
How do you cope with that? How do they cope with you?
Just simple, you know.
You don't feel intimidated?
At all. I can never feel intimidated when I'm in the class. The moment I enter the class, I'm in control. So this
You're
is
in
my class.
control. It's your class. Nice.
At 19, at 20
My
now?
class.
Now, looking at your fellow lecturers
Okay.
who probably are way back, even who could be fathers,
Yes.
mothers.
Most of them even lectured me when I was in school.
Are you serious?
Yes.
And now, what's the relationship like with you and with them?
Very well, because most of them, all of them, like should I say like 90% of them lectured me when I was in school.
Why?
So when I go to the department, they, or you know, we have been together now. So as when I was a student, I used to be very diligent, you know.
So it's obvious.
When so when I go to the department, they were so happy to have me around, and then they gave me the floor and everything. So I was able to exhibit everything I brought back. From.
Now, coming to you at this point again,
Okay.
Looking at the education system in Nigeria today, and at this very young age, you are here, whereby what's your aspiration looking at the education system in Nigeria today? Education is not totally something most kids, most young lads, even of your age and younger, will want to delve into now. But for someone like you at this age, you're doing this, in another 10, 15, 20 years from now, how would you categorize what education should look like with where we are at this point?
All right, thank you very much. To the best of my knowledge, what we're actually doing in Nigeria is not, should I say, I don't want to be using words that are not actually okay. I want to be careful with picking my words because we are not actually educating students in Nigeria. Like in the sense that whatever things we are doing, and then we feel like it's just for us to teach this person what is public health, what is epidemiology, that is not education. Education is, okay, this is epidemiology. How will you apply this? I was speaking with one of my friends yesterday.
Yes.
And then I told my friend that I studied public health. Currently, I'm having my master's in epidemiology. And she was like, okay, what is epidemiology? That she has never heard of it before. This is a 200 level student of a particular university. And she's saying that she has never heard of epidemiology before. Funny enough, she's also a medic. I mean, she's in the Faculty of Basic Medical Science.
Okay.
And she never heard of epidemiology before. I said, how, really? I said, okay, fine. Epidemiology is mostly that you're studying a particular disease, and at the same time, you're studying the frequency of the distribution of that disease. But the definition is not even what we need right now. What we need is, okay, there's an outbreak of COVID-19. We should know that type of disease. We should know the disease that's actually causing the pandemic. How do we address the disease? That's the point.
Absolutely.
So now in the next 10 to 15 years, I hope and I wish to see the education system in Nigeria to be more practical than theoretical. Do you understand what I'm saying? More practical than theoretical. Because we don't have to just be, okay, what is so. I graduated with the first class, right?
Okay.
And not just with the first class. I like bragging with this, sorry. I graduated as the best student in my department.
Wow.
Yes. And then I was able to get that with, you know, getting stuff in my head, cram stuff, just put it down. One of my professors that time, one of my lecturer, Professor Atalagbe, he would tell you that I don't want you to give me the way it is in your book. I just want you to like give me an idea. I want to see whether you can apply this thing. And Mr. Atalagbe will never give you divine disease. Tell you that, okay, how do you apply your definition to something? You understand? I guess in the next 10 to 15 years, I hope and I wish and I pray that the education system of Nigeria will be more practical than theoretical, and that will actually help us. Because right now, there's a particular, concept, an artificial intelligence technology. Okay. They call it ChatGPT or something. I was looking at it from my friend's smartphone today, and then that thing can provide answer to whatever question whatever question you want an answer for. Do you understand what I'm saying? That thing is ready to provide an answer for it. If something like that can provide an answer, why do I need to be stressing myself in spending years in school when I can easily pick up my phone and then make use of that app or make use of that artificial intelligence technology.
Wow.
So it will reach a particular point whereby we would not have to be, you know, going to sitting down in the 4 walls of a particular class and then be listening to a lecturer for years before we'll be able to collect a certificate. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Go on.
So why can't we just organize a workshop section and then we term it, we give it a very good term, and then we have it for just 8 months and 10 months, then we have a BSc. When you can easily, you know, the moment they give you a test, it's normal for everybody to examine so I can know that you're getting what they're saying. But at the same time, why do we have to spend 8 years, according to one presidential candidate, sorry, why do you have to spend 8 years or 10 years or 12 years before we'll be able to get, you know, that is why I'm feeling, I always feel bad for all these federal university students, you know. It's not their fault, and it's not a crime for them to, you know, attend federal university. I had this fast because I attended private school, but I did not attend a private school all my life. My JSS 1 to JSS 3, I attended a secondary school, a public secondary school, you know. And then that time, the secondary school was actually awesome. That was during the regime of Aigbesola. He was even paying the school fees for us. So, like, I don't know. I just feel like everything will become better very soon.
Are you bothered about the lack of reward of excellence in education?
Can you take that again? Sorry.
Are you bothered about the lack of reward of excellence in education?
Yes, I am. Because, you know, small 18-year-old boy that I graduated with first class, graduated as the president of the department. I was expecting, let's say, a check of 50 million, 60 million that day, you know. When I've already summoned all my friends, I've told them that, you know, I'm graduating with the first. I got to know that we're graduating as the president in my department the day to my convocation. I did not even know in the first place. But my dad called my HOD and my HOD told him, and then he called me, told me. I was very delighted. I was happy, you know, that at least all my stress from under level to foreign level, I'm getting the reward tomorrow. So when I got here, guess what they gave me? A plank.
A blank check.
Not a plank.
A plaque.
Plaque, yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
a plaque award. Congratulations as the best guidance student.
Just that.
Just that.
Now, with that, thank you for speeding us up here. With that kind of stuff, just getting a plaque and looking at reality TV shows that goes on over the television these days, all these satellite televisions that we have to watch, and you get to hear 100 million naira cash, an SUV, a plot of land, this and this.
Ambassadorial deals.
And looking at that and education, if 100 million naira is put into the education system for a child or for a group of children to do WAEC, to do JAM, wouldn't the country be a better place compared to what we see on this reality TV show? What's your take about the reality TV shows and education?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I don't want to. I want to be very honest.
Okay.
You know, I do watch reality TV shows, especially BBN Ninja, you know, stuff like that. But what gives me headache the most is if people can be investing in something that will last for just 3 months or 2 months. People can be investing millions in it. Why can't they invest in something that would last forever? You don't understand what I'm saying. There's nothing meaningful you want to do in this country that you don't need, should I say, certificates. So if we're going to need a BSc or MSc or a PhD certificate for a particular thing, forever, something that can last us forever, something that can bring in development, something that can be, whether we like it or not. People used to say that education is school is a scam, school is a scam, school is a scam. We can say that the school system of Nigeria is a scam, but education can never be a scam. Whether we like it or not, if someone is educated, truly educated, I mean my own perfect definition of education, education will make you think wide and then you provide long-lasting solutions to problems. So if we can invest millions in people that are ready to be educated, in order for them to provide long-lasting solutions to the problem, we will not be having fuel scarcity problem right now. We will not be having issues with our government. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So my stand about that is, I'm not saying that people should not invest their money to reality shows. It's their money, it's not my money. But it will actually make sense if we have Nigerian billionaires that made it through this way, education stuff. Let them invest something in education too. You guys made it through education. I was checking my Facebook yesterday and I saw the throwback picture of Tony Elumelu.
When he was 7.
Do you understand what I'm saying? When he was serving, thank you very much, together with his friend. That shows that this person attended school, he finished, and he had his NYSC. Without schooling, he might not be able to get, he was talking about how he got his first job. You understand what I'm saying? I read everything.
Yes.
Bro, you can also invest in millions in a lot of people. So when you invest them, you can, in fact, you can even go to the extent that he is that rich, I'm just picking him as an example.
Yes, please.
And that is why I will forever appreciate Dr. Dijaleleke. Dijaleleke cannot count the number of people he's sponsoring in school.
Oh, wow.
He's a man that loves excellence. Loves academic excellence so much. Do you get? And my dad is a little bit close to him because my dad is like the Parent Consultative Assembly chairman of Adeleke University.
Okay.
So last year convocation, so he called me. I was with my dad, and then that time I was even serving. So we went to meet with him. We went to meet him rather, Dr. Dijaleleke. So my dad was just telling him like jokingly that this is your small boy. The other is the first class. So he was just laughing, and then he shook my hand, and then we're talking, and then he was like, "You're going to be studying your master's, right?" I said, "Yes." Said, "Okay. If you are able to finish your master's with the first class, I'm going to sponsor your PhD."
Wow.
He said that to me, like, directly. I said, "Wow, this is a challenge. And I'm going to start with the first class and finish with the first class. Trust me. I don't even want to take the chance." You understand what I'm saying? So why can't we have, a lot of people like that that loves excellence, like super? You can bring in something, entertaining to Dr. Dijaleleke. He might tell you that you should check back. But if you're bringing something educative, you're bringing something like related to academics or something, he'll sit you down, you want to listen to you, want to hear what you're saying. This is as rich as he is. He has 2 different PhDs in 2 different fields.
Wow.
Not honorary PhD. He studied. I want to believe that he's still studying. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if someone like that can give me that kind of morale, even if I did not want to read for my master's before, but because of that challenge, this man will sponsor my PhD. PhD in our school is like 1.8 million.
Wow.
And someone is giving it to me that if I should finish with the first class, going to sponsor my PhD. Who am I not to read?
Now, let's look at, you made mention of the word perfect education. Then what's your definition of perfect education?
Thank you very much. I've already said it, but let me just repeat it again. The definition of perfect education is, let me just give an instance. Okay. Public health is an example.
Okay.
If you're asked to define public health, you'd be like, okay, public health is the study of prevention of disease, promotion of health, and prolonging life among individuals and communities. So, are you a public health specialist? Yes, I am. What are you doing in your community to protect people's life? Taiwo, are you an epidemiologist? Yes. What are you doing in your community to prevent people from catching up diseases? So if I'm an epidemiologist or if I'm a public health graduate, and I cannot point out to 3 or 4 different interventions I've brought to my immediate community, that means I failed.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's a good one.
On a lighter note now,
Alright.
how do you cope with unwanted advances from the opposite sex?
You mean my student?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I like that question. Actually, I don't want to say that I am perfect or something. Definitely, I have hormones and I have blood running through my vein. I'm a kind of person that always lead campaign against sexual harassment.
Okay.
I'm a kind of person that always lead campaign against sex for grades. I have, definitely I graduated 2021 now. So some of my some of my friends will still be in school, right? So they used to come around to my office sometimes, and then if you are coming to my office, I always make it clear to them that you guys should not think I'm doing my master's. I'm a staff. And God bless Adeleke University. It's a school that has guidelines, principles, rule of law, and everything. If a staff is caught having relationship with any student, that is...
Yeah, gonna.
Yes, even the student self, that's automatic suspension.
Wow.
Yes.
And the staff will be dismissed?
The staff with immediate effect. So even if you want to have anything to do with any student, let the student graduate. You have your degree. Let her have her own.
That's the watchword.
Yes. So I was even talking to one of my friends this morning on phone, and then the girl was asking me, "Why have you been coping with all these girls? You know now you being all these girls. People used to call you these hot boys, whatever." I said, "See, it's not a matter of hot boy. I vowed. I promised my dad. Because my dad called me, sat me down. I was like, I know you. A lot of girls might want to come around or something like that. I said, Dad, I'm not going to have anything to do with my students. Not my student.
That's a good one.
I don't mind having it with another person, but my student. As long as you're a student of IK University and you have not graduated, I'll never have anything to do with you.
Are you a daddy's boy? You've been mentioning your dad.
I'm not a daddy's boy.
What about your mom?
I love him so much, I like my dad because it's actually the reason why I'm here.
Your dad. What about your mom?
My mom too. I like her, but
You like her, you don't love her.
I love her
You just
too.
said you like
No,
her.
actually, I love my mom. I love my dad. But on the ratio of
Hey, don't worry. Don't be a contrast. Don't go because I know mommy will be watching this and then get Umba Abamile. Let's look at that first day.
okay,
Entering a hall to dig out your first lecture
okay.
to those great students. Can you recollect? How was it?
I did not see it as first day
Okay.
because most of them are fan called tutorials for them.
Okay.
So what are we talking about? So when I entered the class, oh, Mr. Maruf, some of them were even like, Taiwo. I said, it's fine.
Are you
You can
kidding
call me
me?
Taiwo. Yeah. Because I was their vice president when I was in school,
Okay.
So when Taiwo said, good afternoon, everybody. I don't think it's nice for you to be calling me Taiwo this time around. I'm just trying to tell
Put
you.
it straight.
told them.
Yeah, yes,
Good.
because I'm not a staff. I'm going to be lecturing you guys on so stuff, and then you don't want your grades. So please maintain. So they laughed. All of us laughed, and I was like, "See, guys, forget
It
time.
passed
This is
I
time.
actually meant it.
Said this time around, I was saying it with seriousness, but at the same time, I was still, laughing. I don't want the situation where they will not be thinking that, oh, but this guy don't talk.
But you actually meant what you said.
But exactly. So I was like, guys, it's gonna be nice if each of is passing and then discover that you guys are calling me Taiwo. Just put that Mr. Please. Just call me Mr. Taiwo. And then in my department, I think I'm even the only Mr. right now.
Oh.
Because every other, all my colleagues are doctors, professors, and that is why I don't like it when they call me Mr. I even prefer that doctor in the first
Are
place,
you? All right.
But I don't want to impersonate, So I want to study and get my PhD as soon as possible so that I can
Okay.
call me that doctor. I even like that doctor.
You like
more
the
than
doctor
anything.
than
Dr.
Mr.
Taiwo. And Dr. T, that's cool.
Wow. Probably which will start Mr. Taiwo. So my next question, let me be very but that's a very good one. What's your ambition in life if away from lecturing? What would you have wanted to do outside if you had not been in the lecture room?
Politics.
Politics.
Weird, right? Yes.
I don't know.
Politics. Well, I don't want to say, I like your question. Politics is not a business, you know. But outside the context of politics, lecturing, I want to be a renowned medical practitioner. I want to go into, that's why I chose epidemiology.
Okay.
I want to be able to provide long-lasting solutions to the problem. If we can have thousands of doctors in Nigeria, we cannot provide treatment to cancer. What's not the essence of using 6-7 years in school? That is why I'm saying that we have not gotten there yet. Our education is not perfect. It's wrong. We have thousands of doctors in Nigeria and we cannot provide solutions to cancer. Really? Cancer keeps killing people every time. Elements that are not really relevant and significant are killing people. Ordinary drainage. Just educate them on how to clean the drainage, or probably you join up with them to cleaning the drainage can actually prevent a lot of people from dying. But because of the fact that we just want, to tell our people that yes, I got the first class in so what the hell is your first class? Sorry for using that word.
Thank you.
If you cannot infect what you really want. So I want to be a medical practitioner. I want to. I don't want you to see me as a thief. I want to work with WHO, honestly.
Good.
I want to work with the World Health Organization. And then if I have the opportunity, I always really want to leave this medical field, lecturing field, and venture into politics.
So if you have the opportunity to JAPA, like the JAPA syndrome,
JAPA syndrome,
to practice
Health.
abroad, would you go?
Yeah, definitely, if I have the opportunity to JAPA to go and practice health abroad, it's going to be a nice opportunity for me because I'm going to be more baked, you know. So if I jackpot, study health and all, I should be able to come back and give back to Nigeria.
Or you won't work there.
To development. I will definitely work there.
and
Then
yeah,
you know there should be something I will be bringing to
back to the
Nigeria
country.
as you know something awesome. What my town? I've not even told you my town.
Oh,
What's it
beautiful.
going to
Where are you from?
Yes, I am from a very local town in Osun State, Odiomo.
Okay.
Yes, Odiomo is a local town, but I can categorically say that we have over 700 professors in Odiomo, right?
700?
Yes, over 700 professors. You can confirm that. Well, 97% of them are not around. Most of them are, you know, abroad. Then on a fateful day was 2022. Yes, no 2021. No, so 2022. Sorry, because I served as the student union president 2021 of Odiomo Student Union president. 2022. One of the doctors that happened to be Odiomo product brought in a mobile clinic. Yes. He works overseas and then he brought in mobile clinic, something that is, you know,
You
I
brought
don't
it to
know.
the town.
If mobile clinic is in Oshogbo, I don't know if there is any, but if mobile clinic is in Oshogbo, definitely people will definitely know that yes, something is in Oshogbo. Like mobile clinic, if you have like 4 or 5 mobile
At
clinics,
different-
different joints. So that mobile clinic, we launched it, and I don't know. I was just looking at the man. I had to meet with him. I said, sir, I don't want you to give me money. I don't want you to give me anything. I don't even want your number. So I said, sir, I'm a public health graduate. I'm currently having my NYSC. I want to be like you one day.
Wow.
I really want to walk over there, gather everything, and then come and give it back to my society. Odiomo is a small town with local stories and all, you know. Oh, so thank you.
Okay.
But at the same time, if Odiomo can produce more than 700 professors,
Yeah.
there's supposed to have been a change in a lot of things. That is why I'm saying that education is not perfect yet. What ends up being a professor without you influencing something positive to your society?
Yeah, but Taiwo, with what you have just said, Mr. Taiwo,
Yeah.
right?
That's a tile.
It's fine.
Okay, aspiring. What we have just said, about over 2,000 doctors have left the shores of this great nation called Nigeria, seeking better opportunities and what have you. Are you worried about the implication of this on public health? Saying as Nigeria is battling multiple disease outbreak.
Thank you so much. Let me just give you a very simple answer to that. You cannot let others live when you yourself don't live.
You cannot
Let others live when you yourself don't live. You have to live and let others live. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a particular section of public health, we name it occupational health.
Okay.
Okay.
The occupational health is a section of public health, you know. For example, this is an establishment. There should be health units. I don't know if you have one.
Yes, we do.
We do.
So the main thing is that they have to take care of the staff, they have to take care of the place, they have to take care of the health and everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? If they can do all those, and if a doctor, you know, the function of the doctor, we actually feel that doctor should be the one to, you know, provide curative and clinical treatment to patients. But doctors are not even, they're not okay. And that's why I said you have to leave before you let others leave.
Absolutely.
That's not what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So if I was to be there, I don't know. I think well, I'm not a medical doctor, and then I wish to be a doctor very soon. Not a medical doctor, by the way. But
Doctor.
yes, doctor. You know, if I appreciate you're a doctor now, Dr. T is fine. It's cool. So it's I don't know. It's
Dr. T.
annoying. Yes.
Are you single?
Yes, I am.
On a lighter note, before we call it a wrap here, let's. Okay, somebody just said, "Is she trying to toast you?"
I don't know.
I will meet you
On a
outside.
lighter note, now, do you find time? Do you find time to relax? And what are your hobbies?
Well, I chat a lot. I love WhatsApp. I love social media.
Are you
know.
kidding me?
Yes.
You still find time with your?
Yes. Why not? I have this crazy photogenic brain. I don't want to hype myself, but while others are reading, you know, studying for hours, I cannot read for more than 2 hours. That's my problem. I cannot study for more than 2 hours.
Wow.
Yes. So if I'm reading a particular book and I'm reading for 2 hours, I'll just doze off. But I have this photogenic brain. You know, the moment I catch it, I've catch it already. So that's yes.
All right.
And I love swimming too.
Oh,
I love
like
table
swimming.
I love table tennis. I don't like football. I'm a princess. So I don't like football. I like tennis. Tennis is actually my best sport.
Oh.
I love swimming, even though I don't know how to swim.
You love swimming, but you don't know how to
swim
swim.
at all. I like staying inside the water. Let me just stay there. Let me float.
Oh.
And
Oh my goodness.
what's that thing? I love talking, you know. At the same time, I just like whining people.
Quickly, something just struck to my mind here. Looking at education and the way and entertainment in Nigeria today, there seems to be that entertainment. Let me do the crazy. And look, are we not supposed to be worried that most of our entertainers, they're either dropouts and they're doing so well in the entertainment world, and education is still lacking? What could be done? Is there anything that could be done?
Okay, let me just say it like this. When I convocated my class produced 5 first-class graduates.
Beautiful.
And out of the 5 first class, there are some that we are not communicating again, you know, because of live and everything. But there's this one brilliant girl. I don't want to mention her name.
Okay.
Got it together, but she's clueless.
Clueless.
You don't know, like, she's clueless. She graduated with the first class. We used to talk. She used to tell me things. Sometimes I call her so that she can cry. So that she can cry everything out, you know. So that I'm still inside this bush. I don't know the next line of action. She graduated with a first class, a brilliant charm. You know, I always discuss it with my dad. Please, if you have any way you can use to just help this girl, you know. It's crazy. Nigeria is a system that has failed us so much. So I don't want to, you know, talk more on that because I just get emotional. So let me just.
It's all good.
It's okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure having a very young, amazing, at 20, a lecturer tutoring 300 level students of one of the private universities right here in Osun State, Adeleke University to be precise. Mr. Taiwo, waiting doctor.
Yeah,
Mr. Taiwo
I like that.
Maruf, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
I'm so very
Thanks
glad.
for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back, today marks the commemoration of World Cancer Day all over the world. And today we have a pathologist in the house already who will take us up on this. What is the theme for this year and what we need to know? Please stay with us.
Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Fumilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Fumilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Aminatu, the legendary queen of Zazao, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazao. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazao. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazao by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the queen of Zazao, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history. Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa as initiated by German leader Otto von Bismarck. The Berlin Conference is often called the scramble for and partitioning of Africa, as each of the imperial powers carved separate portions of the continent for themselves without recourse to racial and cultural identities and differences. 137 years after the Berlin Conference was held, Africa remains a legitimized playground for European nations that sought to exploit its wealth and resources and manipulate its human capital to promote trade and investments of Western powers. Western Spring Television identifies Berlin Conference as a major event in history.
We thank you for being there. Gradually, we're getting to that point, but we will not leave until we are able to talk to our last guest on the show for this morning. And just as we told you earlier, that today, February 4th, marks World Cancer Day. That commemorative day is all over the world is happening again today. And there is a doctor in the house, a pathologist. We'll bring him up to really tell us much more that are about things we need to know about cancer. But you have something to tell us about cancer?
Yes. World Cancer Day is a global healthcare event for the awareness of cancer, which has been committed on February 4th of every year for the past 23 years, since 2000, with the aim of spreading awareness and educating people about its detection, treatment, and prevention. This year, 2023, the World Cancer Day theme is Close the Care Gap, which is a continuation of the 2022 theme and will last till 2024. A 3-year campaign with specified objectives for each year. It was expected that there would be more exposure and engagement in a multi-year campaign, as well as more opportunities to raise global awareness and have an impact today.
And on the show today, just as we told you, we have a consultant pathologist from the Department of His Pathology, Uniosun Teaching Hospital. It's our pleasure to have Dr. Ezekiah Akinyemi in the house. Dr. Akinyemi, thank you most sincerely for joining us.
Thank you, moderator. It's my pleasure to be on the show.
Happy World Cancer Day. I don't know if there's anything.
Hey, Sunday, happy World Cancer Day.
All right.
So you want him to reply same to you?
Okay, that's true. Doctor, don't worry, don't bother about the reply. But quickly, Doctor, let's look at this year's theme for World Cancer Day, which is it's called Close the Care Gap. What does this mean before we go to other questions that we have for you here?
I want to appreciate you for this opportunity, and good morning to viewers at home. As the introduction went, cancer is a global problem, and it takes a great toll on both resources and human lives. And in order to reduce the pleasant outcome, we actually have to do more to bring care closer to people, also increase awareness. As we know that Africa is largely a superstitious society, there's still so much more that needs to be known. People need to be aware so that they don't just sit at home and think it's one enemy that is shooting an arrow, so that they seek care early. So I think that's the object of this year's theme. As we bring awareness to people, we also sensitize government on what they need to do, and so we reduce the gap that exists in care of cancers.
Thank you. What is cancer, and what is the main cause of cancer?
I will try to explain it as much as possible in a layman's term.
Thank you.
Cancer is an abnormal growth in any part of the body. The bottom line is that that growth is no longer under the control of the normal mechanisms of the body, and the end result is that it injures or damages the individual who has it.
Wow.
And yes, please.
Wow, it injures and damages the individual that has it.
Yes, please.
Now, let's come down to Osun State here. Do we have cancer centers here in Osun State?
I wouldn't know what exactly you mean by cancer centers.
Where treatment, okay.
I'm aware that there is no specialized cancer center in Osun State. However, we are fortunate to have at least 2 teaching hospitals in Osun State that offer some measure of cancer management. It may not be all that we should have, but I think we have been one of the very fortunate states to be hosting 2 teaching hospitals that are actually helping us with managing cancers.
Thank you. If you were to tell us the most common type of cancer, what would it be?
Oftentimes it's gender and age specific, but the common ones amongst men, the commonest is prostate cancer. Amongst female is the breast cancer. Of course, in women too, we have cervical cancer. It's still prevalent, unfortunately so, because it's actually largely preventable. And there's colon cancer, which is also doing a lot of damage. And in our environment, maybe because of diagnostic modalities, or people don't present early, we don't usually tend to see more of lung cancer. But worldwide, lung cancer is actually the commonest cause of cancer death. So it's still out there.
It's still out there.
Yes.
Quickly, before I ask the implications of the early detection of cancer, is cancer generic? Is it generic, and is it a disease and is it contagious? Let me just put that. Is it generic? Is it contagious?
Okay, cancer is not contagious. However, in some cases, the cause may be contagious. Is it genetic? Yes and no. Cancer is genetic because every cancer begins at the genetic level, at the cellular level. However, is it directly inheritable? No. But somebody may inherit the predisposition.
What is the implication for early detection, prevention, and treatment?
Such like I think those who brought the English language to us will say is teaching time saves 9. If we detect cancer early, we'll actually be doing a lot of good to the patient and to the society.
Okay.
For example, let me use an example of breast cancer.
Okay.
If somebody detects there's a lump in the breast and seeks help early, one, who we know whether it's cancerous or not. If it's found to be cancerous, before it spreads to other places, it could be nipped in the bud. All that would be needed at that time is just to remove that lump and then follow up the patient so that is there any recurrence or has it gone anywhere? They can even give what we call adjuvant chemotherapy so that if it has gone anywhere, they will nip it in the bud. But if it's in advanced cases, most time it will have spread elsewhere. And at that time, there is really very little you can do for the patient. And outside of pains and hurts to the individual, it also affects the family. People who will need to attend to her will leave their job, leave school. They will not be able to earn a living. If it's a child, the education of that person may actually be truncated. Family resources is directed towards treating what could have been prevented. So it has a lot of implication. If we detect it early, I think the cost will be less and we have more time to actually help them.
How often do people beat cancer?
Well, I would say it depends on which particular cancer. Some get to be identified earlier than others. For those ones that are detected early, I think quite a number of people survive and beat that. But for those ones that present quite late, there is really very little anybody can do.
Is cancer curable? Or is there a cure for cancer?
Some cancers are curable.
Some.
Like?
For example, there is a cancer we call choriocarcinoma.
Come again?
Choriocarcinoma.
Okay, that's the cancer of
It's
what?
not a broadcasting term, so please go on.
It's actually largely, so to say, usually found in the womb of women, usually related to pregnancy. There's another one that is not related to pregnancy, which may also be found in men or may be found in the lung. But usually the one that is related to what we call molar pregnancy, found in women, if it's detected early and they give chemotherapy, it responds 100%. So we can say the person is cured. However, there are so many other cancers. It depends on where the person presents. Like the case of breast cancer that I've just said, if it's detected early, the lump is removed. All that will be needed is following up the person. So for that, we can say the person is cured. But if it's advanced, it has spread to other parts of the body, there's limits to what may be offered. So it's curable in some sense, but largely we are still looking for an absolute cure to cancer.
Dr. Akinyemi, as we wrap it up at this moment in time, because our time is fast spent, and as the world commemorates this very great day, World Cancer Day, what's your admonition to people out there about early detection of cancer?
Thank you very much. I want to admonish our people out there, if you notice any swelling in any part of your body, don't assume that, oh, it's just boil or it's this or that. Go to an accredited health center, let them have a look. Also, I want to encourage philanthropists out there. Cancer care is actually very expensive, and only the government cannot do that. Many of the hospitals are actually struggling even to provide power. So there's a lot that could be done. There could be endowments. Like today, we understand the situation out there in the town. No fuel, no currency. If somebody had sponsored it, maybe we'll have longer time to talk. There could be a road show. People will become more aware. So I think there's still a lot that could be done. But primarily, let's seek care in the hospital.
Thank you
Tell us
so
more.
much for coming to the show.
It's been a pleasure speaking with Dr. Ezekiah Akiemi, a consultant pathologist from the Department of Histopathology, Uniosun Teaching Hospital right here. Thank you most sincerely for coming on the show this
My
morning.
pleasure.
And that's how it looks like for today on the program Spring Delight. We'll be back again next week. Tunde Idowu is my name.
And Olayinka Ali is my name. Have a beautiful Saturday.